there's more villains in this story than just Ben Roberts-Smith. This is a short piece about Ben Roberts-Smith and the way the leadership created him and enabled him. I won't give you the date this happened until the end. But he won a Medal of Gallantry before he won his Victoria Cross. Now, the Medal of Gallantry is 1 or 2 levels below the Victoria Cross. But there's some very interesting things about this award. Now, Ben Roberts-Smith at the time was on patrol with a group of SAS soldiers. They'd climbed a very steep mountain, which apparently took 6 hours to climb, and they're very fit people, so that's a steep hill. And they're meant to be an observation. That is, they're not meant to be seen or give their position away. And the reason they're an observation is so they can help their comrades in the valley below. Now, while Ben Roberts-Smith is resting with another member, 2 members are watching and they see a shepherd boy. A shepherd boy, or what looks like a shepherd boy, a boy, unarmed, walking down below. They decide this boy is no threat and they watch him walk out of view. Sometime later, he walks back into view. Again, they conclude he's a shepherd boy doing some sort of chores, and they do not engage the boy, and they do not think that they should engage the boy because that will give away their position. The boy walks out of shot. Ben Roberts-Smith comes back, so he gets on the watch with Sergeant Matthew Locke. And Locke and Roberts-Smith hear about this shepherd boy, and they decide they're going to go and kill him because he's a spotter. Or there's no evidence to suggest he's a spotter. And the other 2 SAS people, who were also brave and fearless fighters for Australia, they didn't believe this person should be killed. Anyway, Locke and Roberts-Smith override that decision. They go in pursuit of the boy, thus giving away the observation post. They fire a number of shots at the boy, killing him, absolutely giving away the observation post. Then, not surprisingly, the observation post comes under fire. We don't even know who from, or people start approaching the top of the mountain. It's not impossible that it was the boy's family looking for him. Anyway, they all get killed, and it gets messy after that, not surprisingly. And the SAS patrol has to fight for its life and has to call in air support, and they manage to stay alive. But if they hadn't shot the shepherd boy, they might not have had to fight their way off that mountain. And resources that should have been used in other places might have stayed there. So it wasn't a great day, even though a lot of Afghans were killed, let's say. I wouldn't necessarily say they were Taliban. Anyway, that's what happened, more or less. This is what the Australian Army said happened when they gave Ben Roberts-Smith his medal and the Governor-General pinned it on in a very solemn ceremony. A lot of flowery language. I put my glasses on. I don't keep them on because the light shines in them. The observation post, that's the men on top of this very steep mountain, became the focus of an anti-coalition militia force. That's a shepherd boy, an anti-coalition militia force. I don't say one kid. And repeated attempts to locate and surround the position ensued. Repeated attempts to locate and surround the position. The kid walked by and walked back. Now, how is a kid going to surround 6 SAS people on top of a mountain? He's a roadrunner, Muhammad Ali. Anyway, in one particular incident, sort of like there was a whole lot. The militia attempted to outflank the observation post. Lance Corporal E, that's Roberts-Smith, was part of a 2-man team tasked to move out of their relatively secure observation post. I would say completely secure until that point. And he wasn't tasked by anybody. He did it himself. along with Locke, and in fact they overruled the other two, in order to locate and neutralise the militia. They didn't say militia force this time, just the militia, the boy, to kill the boy. They decided to kill the boy. The task was successfully achieved. What a great day for the Australian Army. The boy was killed. That wasn't written by Ben Roberts-Smith. That was written by the Australian Army, by the senior sleazy PR people. And they put it in front of the Governor-General, who was a pretty distinguished soldier, to present this medal. And they had no shame about it. Now, the one guy who complained about this, who was also on the mountain and said he didn't think it was a good idea to kill the shepherd boy, he was bullied by Ben Roberts-Smith after that, and apparently got post-traumatic stress disorder as a result. Ben Roberts-Smith, of course, was made an ambassador for mental health issues, which the SAS apparently felt was rather ironic and in a black kind of way. There's another interesting thing about this citation. There was one almost identical a few months beforehand. In that identical award, there was no mention of the media being able to speak to the people who got the awards. SAS identities were secret, even from media. Now, at this award, something changed. For the first time to my knowledge, an SAS soldier was allowed to speak to the media. I wonder which SAS soldier was chosen to speak to the media and puff out his chest and say, shucks, I was just doing my job. And do you know what else happened soon after this in 2007? Australia committed more troops to Afghanistan, and this was against the judgment of the then Chief of the Defence Force, Angus Houston. I believe was a pretty straight shooter. Houston said, there's no point going to valleys in Afghanistan, killing everybody that doesn't like us being there, and then going away for the winter, and then coming back and they're all there. Not only will we lose some of our people eventually, it's simply not achieving much. Now, Houston was overruled by the then Liberal government, by Howard and by Brendan Nelson. And they loved this stuff. They loved this stuff because it helped them sell the war. I believe Ben Roberts-Smith was used by the Australian military as much as he used them. This was his first patrol in Afghanistan, or first deployment in Afghanistan, so he could hardly say, oh, I did so many patrols, I was so messed up. It was his first time there. He wasn't going to let the glory train get away without him. But nor was the Australian government going to lose this opportunity to have a walking, talking advertisement for war. It's highly cynical, and it will be an absolute travesty of after the wash-up, we don't sack some people in the senior leadership of the Australian Defence Force or our Governor-General for not doing enough to ensure Australia's military reputation wasn't tarnished by lies and complete fabrication in the name of political point scoring. There's more villains in this story than just Ben Roberts-Smith. A lot of heroes too, the people that told the truth. And it can't have been easy. Punishing Ben Roberts-Smith won't solve the problem. Cleaning out the trash at the top of the Defence Force is what needs to happen. If you write rubbish like this and you encourage murders in 2006, what do you think was going to happen? Someone needs to be held accountable for this.